We are back. Sports Bit Betting Insight today at Paulie Howard on Twitter at Teddy_covers. Time for the deep dive. One game to recap, and it was horrible for the books. Army, for the first time since 2001, beats Navy. Army opened 9, bet down to 5.5. The total opened 51, bet down to 46.5. Last week on Sportsbet, we told you about Abby taking over, the third-string quarterback, the sophomore making his first start. Navy had 8 first downs in the game, and he kept throwing interceptions. Army built a comfortable lead, then they blew the lead. They had to come back, a wild one. Trump made an appearance, but Army finally gets the win, Teddy.
Yeah, and this was a really bad result for the house, because I'll tell you what, nobody bet Navy until the very end. And the people who were betting Navy right before kickoff were people that already had Army plus 9 in their pockets. Or I think there were some 9.5s or 10s out there earlier in the week, even before the 9. But this game got bet as low as plus 4 before a little bit of buyback late. And as you mentioned, all Army, all under money, and all of that cashes with relative ease.
All right, the Bowls start Saturday. Can't wait. Remember, here on Sportsman, we'll break down every bowl game. You're not going to find that info, or no one's going to do that anywhere else. Early bowl line moves, Teddy. You expect these numbers to be good now since the early flurry of movement?
Yeah, I mean, what this is how bowl season works. You get an initial flurry, and then the lines sit. We can expect the lines that we're going to talk about right now to sit for a while. Don't expect much further movement at all until we get much closer to kickoff.
All right, some money on Southern Miss against Louisiana Lafayette this Saturday in the New Orleans Bowl. Louisiana Lafayette loves this game.
Yeah, La 4-0 straight up and against the spread in this bowl, this decade, under this coach. And yet the early money coming on Southern Miss. Southern Miss QB Mullins looked very healthy in the regular season finale. He spent most of the year out and banged up.
A lot of action on the under in this one. Las Vegas Bowl. Houston and San Diego State total bet down from 60 to 54.5.
Yeah, and the market's recognizing the Aztecs ain't no over team. They played a couple of over-type games against Wyoming, but this is a matchup of two pretty good defensive squads and nothing but under money. This, in fact, of all the games we're going to talk about, this is the single biggest line move so far. 5.5-point move on the Aztecs Cougars under.
Money coming in on other Cougars. Washington State against Minnesota.
Yeah, the first sevens are starting to show for Washington State. That's up from 5.5 against Minnesota at the Holiday Bowl. If you like Mike Leach's squad, bet them sooner rather than later. From all indications, this game will go to 7, potentially across the board. There's still plenty of 6.5s out there right now.
First bets on Miami against West Virginia in the Russell Athletic Bowl.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like this line is going to go any higher. There was clear resistance at 3. They started getting West Virginia money taking the plus 3. So that first salvo came on Miami. It's going to sit at 3 for a while, and maybe we'll even see it get bet down back lower as we get towards kickoff. Clearly, there's some syndicates out there, some wise guys out there that like the Mountaineers side.
Some Virginia Tech money in a good game against Arkansas in the Belk Bowl, one of your favorite bowls.
Yeah, I honestly wonder if Belk even know. I mean, I don't even know what Belk does, but do they know that their sponsorship dollars are synonymous in the betting world with the most brutal beats of bowl season multiple years in a row? I don't know if they know that. Anyhow, Virginia Tech's taking the money so far, minus 6.5 up to minus 7 in the Belk Bowl.
Well, you got to explain that when you say that.
It was back-to-back years that Belk had the worst beat of all of bowl season. I mean, insane. And you remember the two I'm talking about?
It was Duke and somebody.
Yeah, it was Duke leading with a chance to win their first bowl game. They were plus 10.5, right, with less than 2 minutes to play, and they lost and failed to cover. You know how that played out. There was a pick 6. And then there was a fumble at the goal line, a quick play touchdown, and then a pick 6. Mm-hmm. And there was another one that followed me that was worse.
Yep, you nailed it. I think there was also a Bahamas Bowl with that Western Kentucky game that was horrible. Stanford up to 3.5 in the Sun Bowl against North Carolina.
Yeah, and we kind of teased this game when we talked about the bowls last week here on Sportsbet. We said this was arguably the biggest defensive mismatch in all of bowl season. And certainly, based on the early results, the markets agree with that assessment. Stanford taking the early money.
This will be a great game. Citrus Bowl, LSU against Louisville. LSU up to 3.5. It's one of the easiest angles. Bet against the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, and the thought process, of course, the Heisman Trophy winner gets fat and happy on the banquet circuit. Meanwhile, the opposing defense is really looking to make a statement teeing off against that player. The money came on LSU not because Lamar Jackson won the Heisman, but That being said, Derrick Henry and Bama, they didn't cover last year. But then again, they were chalk. Nothing but LSU money so far. This has been a fairly significant move. 2.5 up to 3.5, flowing right through the 3 for the Tigers.
Some Kentucky money in the Tax Slayer Bowl, and one spot has Alabama laying 17 in the first semifinal against Washington.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Johnson's offense consistently underachieves in bowls when opposing defenses have extra time to prepare for it. And of course, an SEC defense isn't easy for that offense. Kentucky plus 4.5 and down to plus 3.5 now. And the Alabama, I mean, it's still hanging below 17 across most of the market, but it's still up from the minus 14.5 that we saw at the opener in the Peach Bowl. And again, you want to see the sharp square divides, just look at the different books. Bovada, they're hanging at 17. CG Technology here in Vegas, they're hanging at 15. That's books that cater to very different types of bettors.
And last but not least, arguably the heaviest amount of money has come on Auburn against Oklahoma.
It's been a flood of Auburn money. The markets don't like Oklahoma, early on at least. The vastly superior defense catching points. The markets tend to be attracted by good defensive teams when it comes to betting these bowl games.
Yes, and one more bet for the books. Lamar Jackson wins the Heisman. He opened 75-1 at William Hill and 100-1 at the Westgate in Las Vegas. One bookmaker said it was like losing a big NFL game. The tough loss for the books is Lamar Jackson. Wow, that's a monster ticket if you had that one.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.